It's important you have good insurance. We've got somebody who's got a professional background that'll make sure you are informed. Stay tuned for this one, everybody. Welcome, everyone, to Your Little Castle Show, bringing to you local leaders who are experts that can help us to all better understand how we're going to make it on this little planet. How many people have had a discussion about insurance? It's something that everybody must contemplate at times, because if you don't have insurance, you could set yourself up for some big problems.
Oh, yeah.
And so we brought an expert in here to talk a little bit about it. And we're going to give you some of the lowdown. I'm a big advocate, because if you know my story, I was in a bad accident that ended up having great insurance and covered a lot and got some compensation for the damages done. And boy, these days, if you don't consider from all sides, but our expert here is Steve Litzsinger. He is going to talk to us about what you should know. This is his specialty in the insurance space. He's a local nurse and a trusted advisor. Somebody with that nurse background helps a little bit, because now you understand what's going on behind the scenes. And I'm just saying, oh yeah, this is the thing I think they do when you get there.
Oh yeah.
You've been there and actually done it.
Oh yeah, firsthand. So if you look at our career, especially mine and our team, we come from both the payer and the provider space. So we really understand how the healthcare delivery system works and how to help our clients navigate the system, optimize their investment, and really make sure that they have solid benefits that's going to protect them. You don't need insurance until you do.
You don't need insurance until you can't. All right, you need to get that taken care of before you have an issue, and talk to an expert that can help you with that. With that, we'll give a shout out to our sponsors, Carroll House Furniture, because you like nice things in your little castle. We all are trying to build our own little castle that hopefully you have some good insurance that maybe Steve has helped you with. He's been doing this for 27 years. And with that kind of a background, you know you're dealing with somebody who's got quite a bit of expertise. So we want to put up his website, great website, insuranceag.net. And you can see that linked up there. And then he's got a Facebook page going here too. So with that, let's get into this a little bit. Like I said, I'm a big advocate. Make sure you have the proper coverage. Otherwise, you end up in very difficult situations, especially financially. You don't want to end up like that. But why did you decide to get into this? And was it a bit of a career change for you too, or?
Yeah, I get asked that a lot. And honestly, it's not a change. I think it's what is our value prop. Because being a nurse by trade and by training, we really understand patients, and we understand the needs that they have and how to have a holistic approach of how we help them navigate their healthcare journey. So for me, it's really a differentiator in what we bring to our clients. Instead of just coming from a sales background or solely insurance, we really do bring our clinical expertise to the table to help our clients navigate their healthcare journey.
Yeah, well, like I say, get somebody that has actually been there, and so that your background plays in wonderfully for people to make sure they are covered. What led you here? Why did you decide this path?
Yeah. So again, going back, having been on both sides, so being a provider, but also understanding and working for one of the largest insurance companies, understanding the challenges that patients face. There's a lot of jargon. There's a lot of confusion and complexity that comes with it. So what we saw was an opportunity to really bring value to clients, leveraging our inside knowledge of how it works. And we can apply that at both the individual level, but also at a group level when we're dealing with small business or we're working with employers around their benefits.
So what kind of insurance do you specialize in? What do you recommend for people? What are you typically working with?
Yeah, definitely. So we really focus on three key areas. One is around individuals and families. That can be also known as ACA or the marketplace. We also specialize in helping people navigate those options that include private insurance. And now one of the growing areas is even around health share or health share ministries, as well as health membership programs that are all inclusive, as well as direct primary care or direct to consumer options. So one is individual and family. Two is really a passion for us is around Medicare. And I did bring the Medicare and You guide, but that is something that should be much simpler than it is. Most people today struggle with understanding the amount of information that comes within the Medicare program, but also understanding that it's not all inclusive, right? There are gaps. It's not going to cover everything. You have to be able to understand the program so you can make an informed decision around your choices. And then third, small business employee benefits.
Okay. So it's typically health related?
Definitely health. We only deal with health at the Insurance Advisory Group. It's definitely our focus. It's where we specialize.
Yeah, because health insurance these days, I mean, it's gotten a little bit confusing. They had universal care. You've got the stuff that from your loving and caring government, and then the gaps that have to be filled in there. Whether you've got Medicare A, 1B, whatever. What are the options there? And all of that gets so confusing.
Yeah, it does, and a lot of people are. So there is original Medicare that is going to be Part A, Part B, and when you're on original Medicare, you do have to have a prescription drug plan that's credible in order to avoid any penalties. That's also known as Part D. But then there's Part C that has come on about 20, 21 years ago around Medicare Advantage. So when you put that into the mix, there's really three key pathways around Medicare. One is traditional or original Medicare. The second one is Medicare Advantage that can be inclusive with the prescription drug plan or standalone. And then the third is around the Medicare supplement, also known as a Medigap policy.
Okay, so there's a lot that goes on in this space that you better have some expertise and an expert helping you with. How often do people go off on their own and do this themselves?
Yeah, I would say that it's mixed. A lot of people have attempts. I would really say it's more of a partnership today with technology and the advancement there. A lot of shoppers today are more informed, so they're doing some of that research on their own. But often the struggle comes is the platforms that are out there, like Medicare.gov. It may not provide them all the information around their individual market, understanding access, understanding network, and all the benefits, because you can't get everything that you want, and there isn't a magic unicorn out there. So it's really understanding individual needs, what are your priorities with that plan, and how do we help you get the best plan. So it's all about the right care, it's the right plan, and it's all about the right price, making sure that you're getting a return on your investment.
Yes, and I would assume most people, they don't want to spend too much. They don't want to, but they don't want to be undercovered, and finding that right mix. And that has to do with the personal health history and their age, and what are the variables that people need to consider when they're getting their plan.
Yeah, you definitely want to take into account them as an individual. So what is their medical history? Do they have any diagnosis? Do they have any family history of certain disease, especially cancer, heart attacks, strokes? Those are all things that need to be factored in. One of the other major drivers that's getting a lot of media attention today is really around the cost of medications. So each of the carriers, each of the plans that are available, especially when you're talking about Medicare or if you're talking about an individual or even in commercial insurance, there are different formularies or medications that are going to be covered on that plan. The out-of-pocket costs that come with it can be almost cost prohibitive sometimes. So really factoring that into your analysis and doing a complete profile will really help guide us how to best help you make that decision and go toward the plans that are going to be best situated for you.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like complicated for anybody, but if you don't have some kind of an expert with you, this would be very difficult to pick apart. And 27 years of experience you bring to the table, it's going to make it a little easier for people to trust you, a trusted advisor, and giving them a little bit of your medical background as a nurse. Yeah. This can make this a lot easier for somebody.
Well, it certainly comes into play because there are, depending on the plan that you have, the benefits that are coming with that plan, you have to consider kind of the benefit, the cost share, right? What is the portion that is covered? What is your out-of-pocket cost? What is the risk to you as a consumer, as a member on that plan? So really understanding the cost shares, that also gets confusing for a lot of clients because you're talking about deductibles, co-pays, co-insurance. When do you apply? Does both apply? Does it all apply? Then you start layering in the network. That's been a big shift. Before, everybody could be in a network. Today, it's becoming much more limited. Not every plan that is offered in the market may have every healthcare system, hospital within that network. So we really try to take an inventory of your individual providers, your specialists, and give an account for them to make sure that the plan that you're looking or considering is going to meet your needs and that you will be able to maintain access to your treatment team and to your providers, which is key when you start to talk about chronic disease management and how you help clients live a happy, healthy life.
Lots to consider here, like we talked about, and that's why we get back to you need that expertise. Tell me though, what is it about this that fuels your passion? You really get to help people here because they can get into a tough situation financially. I think the number one cause of bankruptcy is people who don't have the proper insurance if they're medical event that can clean them out.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. So when you look at debt, one of the number one drivers is medical. So often, especially with the higher costs, we see this a lot on the individual side, but even on the commercial side. When you consider the cost of the benefits and the cost of care, over the last several years, especially in the last decade, we've had a transition to these high deductible health plans. With that, it often comes that those high deductibles have to be met before your benefits start to actually pay. And what happens with that, people delay getting care, which often can lead to other comorbidities or a disease progression that can have a higher cost down the road. So really understanding the value of preventative medicine, taking advantage of those annual wellness visits, but also if you're sick, you need to seek care. You need to be able to be evaluated instead of waiting until it's already reached a point of exacerbation and you end up in an emergency room, which is very expensive. So understanding the drivers to cost is important.
Yes. I mean, how often do we end up in a situation where there's an emergency, you're going to the hospital, and the next question is what kind of insurance do you have? Do they make medical decisions? I think in America, they have to fix you no matter what and figure out the money later, right?
Right.
But that could be expensive if you haven't planned this out because do we have the right coverage for that? Do they have, what's your deductible and what kind of type of overall coverage does somebody have? And that could then get to where now you're paying for things on a monthly plan, like a mortgage payment or something like that.
Yeah.
How does that work for people once they've been hospitalized and they've got to sort this out?
Yeah, certainly. So it goes back to what I said early on, is you don't need insurance until you do. And when you do, you really do need it, or you're going to be in a really bad spot, especially financially. So luckily there are laws that protect us, like EMTALA. So if you truly are having an emergency room and you go to the ER, they're definitely going to treat you and take care of that emergent need. But beyond that is where you're going to get into some coverage issues, right? So if it's not in network or you're at the right hospital, a lot of people will pick a plan that may not necessarily be the closest hospital. So when you can't speak for yourself, you can't direct them where your preferred hospital is, and you end up at a hospital that's closest to you. Does your health plan have that hospital in network? Otherwise, you're going to be dealing with out-of-network costs, which will also impact your total cost of treatment. So all of those things have to be factored in. That's where a licensed agent or a broker or a trusted advisor can really help you navigate what are the risks, what's your exposure, how do you mitigate them, and how do you make sure that you're not paying for a benefit that really is not going to bring any value and there's really no risk tied to it. So it's all about making smart investments on your benefits.
Well said, because how often do we end up in that situation? You don't get a chance while you're going into a traumatic situation to say, hold on, let me make an update to my insurance to make sure I've got it covered. You have that conversation with Steve prior, and he'll make sure that that is taken care of. These are important issues. With that, we're going to share with you a little bit of our fun in the community. We've got a lot of community excitement. We partake, and some of it down at Busch Stadium, as you can imagine. So we'll be back here in just a minute. Check this out.
Hey everybody, guess what? We get to have fun all the time at the Cardinal games. Before the game, we get to hang out with fun super fans. Say hello to my buddy Nino over here, Brett, Tanya, and Dixie. That's right. Everybody's in the video here. Family coming out to the game. Nino, what do you love about going to Cardinal games?
You love baseball?
Yeah. He loves baseball. Hey, all right. Scoring points with the Cardinal Cowboy.
Yeah, he plays Miracle League baseball.
Do you really?
And he likes to be on the Cardinals team at home.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you know how many times have you been on that team? How many times have you done that?
A lot.
A lot.
That's a good answer. All right. Dad, what's it like coming to the Cardinal games with your son and your wife and all the fun you get to have down here?
Oh, it's the most fun. I mean, we've been coming since Old Bush. You know, now we've got New Bush Stadium. It's the best baseball town, and it's the most fun. You know, it's fun before the game. The games are always great, and we love it.
Well, I appreciate you guys taking time here. We're at Patios, everybody. This is where the most fun is. I get to wear the full outfit here. I got the pants, the socks, the arch, Nino, Brett, Tanya, and Dixie all here, and we're outside Patios having fun. Hey, say hi to Patios. Stop on by here before a Cardinal game, and we'll see you guys soon. Nino, give me some knuckles. There we go. Go Cardinals. Giddy up.
His name is Carter Rethwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rethwich was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goals, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up. Hey, we're looking for the small business owners and leaders in our community to be on our show. This is the Your Little Castle show. We air 3 times a week, every week on ABC, and we would like to put somebody you know, or maybe it's you, who's a business owner to be on our show. You'll sit right here in our guest chair, right here, sitting here talking to us. We're going to put on the wall your website and everything about you and highlight you as a leader. Fill out the form you see here on our website. It's bigleagues.com, and if you go to bigleagues.com, fill out this form. Takes just a couple seconds, and you can even schedule yourself right here. Schedule yourself to be on the show, and there's no charge for us to record you. There's no charge to be in the studio. Check it out if you would like to be on. Fill out the form again, bigleagues.com. This is where we can turn any interview into a series of clips. Check that out. Go to bigleagues.com. So there you have it, everybody. And you must be involved in your community these days because there's so much that goes on. It's how you make connections, how you get to know people. With that, I've got a few more questions for our expert here. Steve Litzsinger is in the building and has got 27 years of experience handling this. You're the owner and the founder of the Insurance Advisory Group.
That is correct. So we started the Insurance Advisory Group 2 years ago in 2024 because we saw a need and there was a gap in what kind of service and support was being provided to clients. So seeing that opportunity, we definitely wanted to capitalize on it. So along with me, there are other members of our team also that have a various background. Some may be nursing, but we bring to the table some unique skill sets that most people that are insurance agents, especially in the health insurance space, don't have those credentials or the expertise. So yes, we started that in 2024, and it's been the best decision that I've made.
Well, yeah, when you get to run your own show and but when you get to run your own business, then you can have a lot more control. You're also responsible for everything, though. But it sounds like your background, you know how to handle it. Tell me then, what is not covered by Medicare?
Yeah. So Medicare, historically, people's like it's the best insurance. It is a great, solid insurance, yes, but it doesn't cover everything. And that's where we often recommend an umbrella package, right? We want to make sure that you're fully protected. So the cost share split with traditional or original Medicare is really 80%. So you're responsible for that 20%. So that's where people look for different options, being a Medicare Advantage or a Medicare supplement. But even with those plans, it still doesn't cover 100% of everything. So a couple of things that are top of the list that can be very expensive very quickly is the recovery care, our home health care, and those benefits. There are some limited coverage, but it's very specific and criteria has to be met for it to be covered. So in order to make sure that you have the right coverage, we recommend an umbrella package. So that is taking the original Medicare, which really is the core, and then adding on those additional riders or policies that's going to give you that full protection. So that comes with a skilled nursing or recovery care, because yes, Medicare is going to, a lot of the plans, even with Medicare Advantage, they're going to cover those first 21 days, but after that, there's a day rate that comes with it. You're going to have to be able to pay that. So if you don't have that reserve, that's where you can get yourself in trouble with medical debt. The other component of that, if you're looking at long-term care or living in an assisted independent living, even long-term care, it is very expensive. Medicare does not pay room and board for you to live in a nursing facility. So if you don't have coverage or a plan or a reserve of how you're going to fund and cover that, you're definitely going to be at a disadvantage and you're definitely at risk. So we recommend having a full umbrella package that looks at the skilled nursing, the home health benefits, but also high-risk diagnosis, some of the leading cost contributing factors to kind of older adults around cancer, heart attacks, stroke. There are policies and riders that are relatively inexpensive that can be bundled together to really give you a full, robust, full protection with your original Medicare plan. Regardless if you go with a Medicare Advantage, original Medicare, or even a Medicare supplement, these are great complements and really bundle really well to protect you as an individual and protect your family and your legacy.
Yes, we don't want to see somebody lose everything they've worked their whole life for because they didn't have the proper coverage. Tell me, what is the difference between Medicare Advantage and a Medicare supplement?
Yeah, so both Medicare Advantage and Medicare supplement are built and are still operating under original Medicare. So original Medicare applies. A Medicare Advantage is a third party or a private, a carrier that is actually administering your Medicare benefit. So a Medicare Advantage, often, especially in the Missouri market and the Illinois market here where we're located, a lot of those plans, you may get them for a $0 premium, and they come with extra benefits. And that's really been some of the growth around the Medicare Advantage. Not only are they administering the plan, they're adding additional benefits. Benefits like dental, vision, and hearing without any additional cost. Most people on Medicare Advantage do go with what they call a Medicare Advantage prescription drug plan, or an MAPD, because that prescription drug plan that is required under original Medicare Once you enroll in Medicare, you do have to have credible coverage, does qualify. So a Medicare Advantage plan, again, it's operating, the rules still apply around original Medicare. It's just a third party, a private company that is administering that benefit. A Medicare supplement is also bundled with original Medicare. And what it is designed to do is to really supplement what original Medicare doesn't cover. So often we get asked, is Medicare Advantage or a Medicare supplement a better option? And it really is, they're both great choices. It's really understanding your health history, your financial situation, what are your needs and your goals with your care, and how do you do that, looking at it from a total cost. When I talk about total cost, what is the out-of-pocket cost to a client? So that includes any cost associated with premiums, with riders, with deductibles, copay, coinsurance. That's even down to the copays that you pay around your medication. So one of the things that really we do differently is we always evaluate this from a total cost analysis, looking at what is the risk, what is the max out of pocket that you could be responsible to pay, meaning that that insurance benefit is not going to cover and you're going to have to fund it. And how do you use that information to make an informed decision around which is the best plan? So to ask me, which we get asked all the time, is probably the number one question when it comes to Medicare. Is Medicare Advantage good or bad? Is a Medicare supplement better? Well, I wouldn't say that one's better than the other. I'd say that they meet the needs of the individual. So we really walk each client through the pros and the cons. We're not there to steer you toward one or the other. Our job is really to educate and inform you and empower you to make an informed decision around your Medicare benefits.
Okay, well, like I said, an expert that can help you walk through this. Can be very complicated. We've got just about a minute and a half left. I think I'm going to have Steve stick around for a second half hour. We've got lots of information he's sharing with us here. But give me a quick cost analysis. There's a number of ways this can be sliced. It's not really a matter of do you do it the expensive way or the cheap way, but I guess it can be depending on what kind of coverage you really want. Versus, like I said, when you get the high quality versus the low quality, marble versus granite versus veneer. We're talking about construction, but in this, help me understand the differences with people, why there's a range of options for people.
Yeah, I would say that you definitely need to factor in your financial situation. There are great coverage options for any budget. So even if you are on a fixed income and you really don't have access or the ability to purchase maybe that Medicare supplement, Medicare Advantage today has come a long way from where it started. It is definitely affordable, right? A lot of those plans start at $0 premium, $0. So when you talk about that and that it's going to include your prescription drugs, it's definitely a very economical option, and it doesn't compromise your access to care or coverage.
We'll have to talk about that more in the second half, everybody. Steve obviously knows what he's talking about. Stay tuned. We'll be back. Check us out online if you miss us live when we're on TV. Giddy up.